Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be covering how to handle an inherited property right here in Texas. My name is Aaron White. I'm a realtor with the A-List team. I'm an investor, and we'll walk you through today how we've helped our clients go through this process or how we've purchased homes like this before from people who have lost a loved one. Important to note, I am not an attorney here in Texas, so as you engage in this will give you an idea of experience what to expect. However, there may be situations where you do want to consult an attorney on how to handle your inheritance. There are two situations where you will always fall into a probate situation. You have to go through the probate court. Now, a probate court will always happen if A, the deceased left a will indicating what they desire to have and where they desire their inheritance to go. The second case is when the family has a disagreement and they are not all fully aligned on how either the property should be distributed or what percent goes to whom. The probate process is a judicial process where the court reviews the will of the deceased person and the laws in Texas and distributes the inheritance according to both of those. The probate court will assign an executor, basically someone who can make some decisions and contact people on behalf of the deceased, and they will go out and find information on what are the debts, what are the assets, and what are ultimately taxes still owed by the deceased person. They'll go through a process of balancing that out, figuring out what's actually left to be inherited, and then they'll have a review. The court will determine then how those debts and how those taxes will be paid for or accounted for, and then those assets are assigned to the beneficiaries. Finally, the court will approve that assignment. That whole process takes anywhere from 2 months to over a year. It really depends on A, how much conflict is there between family members and disputes and interpretation of the will, and then B, finding and collecting the information necessary and scheduling the next court case. So it varies by county, it varies by the time it takes to collect certain information and get everything in order, but that's the typical time frame that we see for a probate here in Texas. The Affidavit of Heirship is the second process by which property can be inherited here in Texas. An Affidavit of Heirship is essentially a standard process in Texas where property is distributed to its beneficiaries. It can only occur if the deceased did not leave a will and if all of the inheritors or the beneficiaries of this inheritance are in agreement with one another. If there is not an agreement, it kicks it back to probate, and that's the process by which they need to go. The nice thing with the Affidavit of Heirship is it's much shorter. Typically, we see this can be completed in just 2 weeks. Your family will fill out typically a questionnaire. Typically, a title company will offer this questionnaire to you, or an attorney's office will offer this questionnaire to you. And from that, it will help an attorney review the inheritance essentially, and then map out who gets what according to what you filled out. This does need to be done by an attorney, but it's not extremely expensive as it's a very standard process and it happens all the time. Attorneys have this prepackaged and bundled up pretty tightly. This Affidavit of Heirship document that essentially the attorney will prepare will outline who is the deceased, who are the beneficiaries, and then there must be 2 witnesses that are unrelated to this transaction. They have no financial benefit from the inheritance, but both of these witnesses must know the family for more than 10 years. Those witnesses will then have to sign with a notary as well to verify that they know that these are the beneficiaries and these are the relatives of the family member who is deceased. All right, so now let's go through an example of what this Affidavit of Heirship would look like in terms of splitting a property that is inherited. So here you have a very simple house here to draw, and you have a single dad, let's say, that has 3 children. This child also has 2 children of their own, and unfortunately, for one reason or another, both this child and the father passes away at the same time. So the way Texas looks at this is that all 3 of these children have equal distribution of this property. And because this one is also deceased, both of these kids have an equal share of this person's inheritance. So essentially they take that property and we'll distribute it 3 ways. This one will be split by 2, giving them an equal share as well. Now, where this gets a little bit different, of course, is when you have a spouse that passes away and one spouse is still remaining. You still have to go through a similar process of distributing the property. And this also gets a little bit more complicated if you have marriage and you have children in a former marriage as well. you have ultimately inheritance that is distributed amongst all of the heirs of the person that's deceased, not just the current marriage. So that's a little bit to go through that. If you do need help going through this process, please do reach out to us. Again, we're based in the Houston, Texas area. I'm a realtor and investor. We buy houses as well. If it needs a little bit more work, that's not a problem. We can get you connected to the right people. We'll see you at the closing table.